In this video, we are looking at Excel's autofill feature. This section deals with the feature of autofill series. Now, in much of mathematics, many calculation situations necessitate the entry of numbers that follow some pattern. For example, suppose you want to enter numbers down a column or across a row like this, or like this. It's relatively easy to do if we don't have too many numbers. However, it becomes more tedious the more numbers you have to enter. For example, suppose you want to enter the numbers from 1 to 50 in the series. Now I can only get from 1 to 17 here, but let's say it continued down a column. Now you can enter them one by one in a cell at a time, or you can use Excel's autofill feature, which will quickly enter the number based on the series. Now let us go over to Excel and see how to use this feature. Suppose you want to enter the numbers from 1 to 20 down column A. Let us say you want to index some items, like item 1, item 2, down to item 20. To use the autofill series, you need to give Excel some indication of the pattern at work. To do this, you give Excel the first 2 or 3 numbers of the series. So you're going from 1 to 20, let us say 1, 2, 3. To highlight the range, you move your cursor down to the bottom right corner until it becomes a plus sign, and then you drag it down to cell 20, which is the last cell, and Excel will automatically fill it in. The series goes from 1 all the way to 20. Now let us say you want to enter a series that does not increase by 1. Let us say it increases by 5. So you want to enter 5 in the first cell. You enter 10 in the second cell. So you're increasing by 5. So Excel now is aware that the pattern or the series is increasing by 5. And then you get that plus sign and just drag it downward. Now, can we go backwards? Yeah, we can count down as well. So let us say you want to count down from, let us say 27. So you put 27. You're going down by 3, so your second number will be 24. And that's enough right there. You highlight, you get that plus sign, and you just drag it downwards. And Excel will just continue that series until you to your final cell. Excel can also autofill dates. Now we want to enter a date series, let's say beginning from today and increasing 1 day each time. We simply type today's dates in a cell in the proper format. Now let us go to the home and the number, and you get date, short date, and go to the cell and type today. And the little calendar will come up. You click on today's date, which is the 12th of March, 24. And you're going to get this short form. Now, in order to continue the series 1 day at a time, you simply go down to the bottom corner, bottom right corner, and you get that cross. You hold down the mouse and you just drag downward. And Excel will just continue the series. All you had to give it was 1 date, and it continued the 13th, 14th, 15th, and so on, all the way till the cell you wish to stop at. Now let us do the same dates, but let us use the long form. So we go to dates, long date, and again you type today. Calendar comes up and you click on the 12th, and you're going to get the long date, which is Tuesday, March 12th, 24. Again, you just go down to the bottom and drag downwards. It will fill not only the date, but also the weekday, the day of the week. So this is how the autofill is used with dates. Now, let us see how the autofill can be used with text. Now, let us say I want to write here M-A-L-E, which is male, gender. Now, if I highlight that cell, go down to the bottom and drag downward. Now, there is no pattern here for Excel to recognize. So it just copies the content of the cell all the way down to our final cell. Now, let us do something a little different. Let us give it a pattern. So we put male. Now, if you just write male and female, that's not a pattern enough. So you just do it one more time. So now this is enough of a pattern that Excel would recognize. So you highlight, go to the bottom corner and drag downwards. Excel will just continue that pattern for you. Well, this is the end of this section on autofill. And practice it is really simple and it saves a lot of time if you know how to use it. Excel will also autofill some commonly used lists. Let us say days of the week, we already saw that, but it can be done all by itself without the date. Also the month of the year, and so on. So let us look at some of these. So you put Sunday, continue the list of the week for you. When it gets down to Monday again, it will continue again. So here we can put January. And continues the month of the year. So it works the same with other lists, commonly used lists, and this is all part of your auto series. We are going to see how autofill is used with formulas, where Excel copies a formula from one cell to other cells or from one range of cells to other ranges. Now, the data set we see here represents end of semester teacher's gradebook, in which students are identified by their student ID. And then we have exams 1, 2, and 3, which are exams throughout the semester. All three of them are out of 100 points. Then we have a final exam out of 200 points. So what we have to do is total the student point for the semester and then find a percentage, a total percentage of the final grade. It would indeed be tedious for the teacher to manually total the grades of each student and enter the total in column J. So we would perform the calculations once for the first student and then use autofill to copy the calculation formula down the column for the other students. So we go to student 1, click in that cell J1, where we're going to place the total, the student's 3 exams plus the final exam. So as you know, we have to start with an equal sign. So we're going to start totaling. So this is the first cell that we're going to reference, which is 165. We are referencing cell I2. We put a plus sign. We reference cell H2, which is at 76, plus we reference cell G2, and then we reference cell F2, and we hit enter. So the total for student 1 over the 3 exams and the final is 365 points out of a possible 500 points. Now, we're not going to do that for each single student. What we're going to do, highlight cell J2 in which the total sets for student 1. We go to the bottom corner, right corner of that cell, hold down the mouse button, and then just drag it down for the other students. So Excel is going to copy that formula for each student. Now, if you look at the first student and look up here in the formula bar, we're totaling the contents of cell I2, H2, G2, and F2. And that totals to 365. Now, let us get the total for student 2. And if you look up at the formula bar, we're totaling now F3, G3, H3, and I3. So what Excel is doing is as we move down the cells for column J, it's also moving the total, that calculation across those 4 cells down with us. So this is what happens here, and we have the total score for each student. Now, instead of dragging that cursor from the bottom right corner of the cell down to the last cell to copy the formula, we can also double click. So let me wipe out the copied formulas, the copied totals, and highlight cell J2 once more. I'll get the cursor to the bottom right corner, and instead of holding the mouse and dragging it down, I simply double click. And by double clicking, Excel will automatically total across all these student observations for us. So we have this another way of getting our totals. Now let us fill out column K, which gives the final percentage for each student. We're going to place that equal sign, and how we find the percentage, we're going to place an open parenthesis, and then we're going to reference cell J2, which is the total for that student. We're going to divide by the 500 possible points. So each of these totals will be divided by 500. Now we place a closed parenthesis, and then we multiply the result by 100, which is asterisk by 100. We got 73%. We place our cursor down here and double click, and we get the percentage for each student. So this is how we use Autofill to copy formulas down different cells or ranges of cells, as we saw here with the long addition calculation. And it's pretty simple. So this is the end of this section on Autofill. It's also the end of our video.